For years now, I've been encouraging woodworkers to protect their lungs by using respirators, but one thing I failed to do is explain how to maintain and clean them.
Hit it!
Now, most folks know you have to change out your filters. These pink guys are particulate filters, and that's just for dusty work. And then I have the ones that actually have a particulate filter and an organic cartridge behind it, and that's for finishing. Any of those fumes, you don't want those in your lungs, so you need that activated charcoal to filter that stuff out. So, how often do you replace them? Really depends on usage. It's not something I can absolutely give you a number on. I usually change mine out every 6 months, roughly, but I'm in here every day. I use this stuff a lot. Most of the time, though, I let my nose tell me when it's time. If I could smell things that I shouldn't be smelling through a respirator, then I know it's time to do the replacement. Now, a lot of people don't realize that cleaning your respirator is just as important as replacing those filters. Your hot breath is in there all the time, and I've sneezed in my respirator a few times if I couldn't get it off fast enough, so that's kind of gross, and you want to be able to clean it out periodically. There's also a few valves in here that you may need to replace depending on their condition. So let's disassemble these masks. I've got two different versions here, the 7500 series and a 6500 series with the quick release latch. Both of these are from 3M. No matter what brand you have, a lot of this cleaning stuff is probably going to be pretty much the same, right? So let's start cleaning. Remove the filters first. Next, remove the front guard and strap. These parts don't usually require a lot of cleaning. A damp rag will do the trick. These particular masks have 3 valves, 1 exhalation valve and 2 inhalation valves. Inspect the valves for damage or wear and replace if needed. Note that the 6500 and 7500 masks use different valves. The valves for my 6500 mask are not only dirty, but warped. I'm guessing this is the product of living in such a dry climate like Arizona and now Denver. I'll need to replace those with a new set of valves. I usually do this in a kitchen sink, but I'll use a bowl in the shop for clarity. Warm water and a small amount of dish soap will do the trick. By the way, this one is a mask that I don't use very often, but it has been a while since I've cleaned it. Check out the gunk on the inside. Pretty gross. To do the washing, I'll use an old bottle brush. This works well for getting into the inside corners of the mask. Don't forget to clean around the valve areas too. Once the mask looks clean, it's time for a quick rinse. The valves are pretty easy to clean with your fingers, but feel free to give them a little bit of a scrubbing if there's some stubborn residue. Now you can let the parts air dry, or give them a wipe down with a paper towel. If you're really in a rush, you could use a blow dryer to speed up the process. While you're wiping down the mask, separate the plastic insert from the rubber. This part doesn't really need additional cleaning, but it's not a bad idea to wipe it down with your paper towel just in case there's any trapped water or residue. And now we can reassemble. Most of the valves just pop right through the hole. The inhalation valves on the 6500 have a small hole on them, and you have to stretch it over a small post inside the mask. Now, before we finish the reassembly of the respirator, it's a good idea to test and make sure that your valves are working properly. Now, anybody who's been fitted for a respirator, you know that this is actually a long and involved process. I'm going to show you something here that's just quick and dirty. I'm making no claims about how effective this is, but it works for me. All right, so what we're going to do is take a few breaths through this and just make sure that the valves are functioning properly. I'm going to use my palms to cover the intake valves and see if I can actually get any air through. If I could still breathe, then there's definitely something wrong with my exhalation valve. All right, so here we go. Now, it is bringing air in, but it's because of my palm, so I'm going to try to get a better seal. All right, that hurts if you do it too much, but if you can't pull any air in, you know it is doing its job. The rest of the assembly is pretty straightforward. So how often should you do this kind of a cleaning? Well, I would say once a month is probably not bad, but ultimately it's like anything else that you clean. How often you want to clean it is kind of dependent on how much of a clean freak you are. As soon as you look inside there and you see some gunk collecting, it's kind of nasty and you're passing your breath over that every time. So it's almost a separate issue from the shop danger. It's just a hygiene issue. So it's really up to you. But again, for me, once a month is usually pretty good. All right, so now I'm ready to breathe easy and start my next project. Thanks for watching.